Poetry Slam, take one.
I so love that we met at the Poetry Slam. That was just so much fun. It was back at the Mercury Cafe. I know they rebranded a little bit recently. What was the new name for
The Pearl.
The Pearl, okay. But the Mercury Cafe was iconic, and me and Seth, we met each other doing Poetry Slam, music and poetry.
Right.
Can you tell me, what was your kind of experience? What was your inspiration for starting that Poetry Slam so many years ago?
Well, I didn't start the Poetry Slam.
Oh, okay.
That was Ted Vaca, who was a good friend of mine, and I started slamming poetry, and I actually was on the National Slam team the first
were you?
3 years. And during the second year, I recognized that I was not going to be one of the top slammers, but what I really loved to do, and what I had a real good knack for, was performing poetry to music.
Oh, yes, it's a different spin, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, with music, yeah.
And so I gathered musicians. Actually, I had a partner at that time, Alexander Day, and the two of us would do music before the slam. We called it the jam before the slam.
Jam before the slam.
We would invite other musicians. And then as we got along, he only lasted 1 year. I continued it, and then had more musicians and more poets. And we've been going 25 years and still going strong.
Yes, you are. It was such a blessing for me to be able to bring the clarinet in that space because there are so few places that you can bring poetry, the clarinet, piano. Like, that's just such a rare opportunity. But I love that you were so collaborative in your nature that really invited that. And now that I'm thinking about it, that energy, that invitation you gave also inspired me because I'm doing an album, The Sound of Collaboration, where I'm looking for collaboration opportunities. That's why I reached out. Luckily, you were releasing a new book, The Reluctant Messiah, which I was so excited to hear about because I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to collaborate with somebody who already helped me out on my journey and is an inspiration to start fusing together different mediums of art. You know, we have poetry, we have music, we have the written word. So can you just tell me a little bit more about this new book that you're releasing, The Reluctant Messiah?
Oh, okay. Well, it's a hybrid. Would be classified under creative nonfiction. So it's part fiction, part poetry, and part Socratic dialogues on a number of very important topics.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on a really deep, profound moments here. We were doing a recording earlier, and I heard just the power, the potency of some of your main content, of the chapter headings here. Man does not live by bread alone. Nothing new under the sun. And it's just beautiful how you're weaving that in together. Right. Can you tell me a little bit about these catchphrases? Throughout the entire book, you'll see these little men and everything that have little phrases. Can you tell me more about that aspect of it?
That was inspired actually by reading T.S. Eliot.
T.S. Eliot?
T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. I happened to be reading it while I was working on this. And what he did in The Wasteland is he's got different excerpts from different literary works, and it's like a collage. But you really have to be well read in order to know what he's doing and what the various references were. And I was not, but I thought, okay, I like the idea, but then I thought, well, instead of using obscure things, why don't I use phrases that everyone hears all the time? And so you have phrases from the Bible, you have phrases from the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence, from Lincoln's speech, ask not what your country can do for you. I lift Martin Luther King, the moral compass, the arc of the moral universe, though long, bends always towards justice. So it's things that people recognize. And so
I can absolutely agree. I recognize every single one of those, and I have a memory with every single one of those. And that's, I think, why your poetry resonates so deeply with myself and others, because we hear it. We see ourselves in your work. And from what I've heard, people love this your main poem that's here. It's actually too long, if I've heard correctly, for your whole book.
Right, yes.
Can you tell me about that writing process of getting to decide to learn that this piece that you've been working on for so long, this large poem?
Actually, it was coincidental because I was writing the book, and then this poem, I was writing it at the same time. And then when I was done with the poem, I realized, hey, you know what? This is the same theme as The Reluctant Messiah. Why don't I stick it in here? But when I showed my editor it, we were going to end with that very long poem, and thought it was way too long.
Way too long. It was like, for context, it's like 7 minutes long or more.
Well, it's about 9 minutes long.
9 minutes now. Okay, it keeps going up.
Pages, and I can't read it at most open mics.
Yeah.
But my editor did come up with the idea, hey, why don't we break them up and use them as the headings for each chapter? Oh. And it was absolutely brilliant.
That is brilliant. That's why you hire good editors, right?
Yes. Once he said it, it was like, wow, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that your editor did that, though. It makes it so much more cohesive and beautiful. Definitely, yeah. And if you want to hear that entire poem, definitely check out the link below, because it's just a wonderful piece of art, and there's such potency with your voice. I think that's one thing that comes with your music, doing it with music. It comes with this style of rhythm and voice. Talking about your voice and the way that you create, we were talking earlier about your creative process, and I thought it was really kind of beautiful and poetic. Can you tell me a little bit about how you write your such impactful poems for speech?
Well, I rely on my ear.
Okay.
When I am writing, I'll write maybe, let's say I get to this 2 or 3 verses.
Totally.
Then I read aloud what I've written before so that I can continue. And I get so far, and then I read aloud again from the beginning, and I continue, and I go all the way through. So my voice lets me know, reading it aloud, my ear lets me know, okay, not only does this work, but it flows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also, particularly when I'm done, and when I'm close to done, I actually visualize there's an audience listening to every line, every phrase. And that does tell me, okay, this phrase is a little bit awkward. They're not going to quite get this, or I can say this in a more succinct, precise way.
Absolutely.
So that's my process.
Okay. I love that process, because it connects your ear, your mind, and it becomes so visceral of an experience.
Precisely.
And like even when I read when he sent me over some like snippets of this just to get some inspiration, I didn't hear the full story. I didn't hear the full story until you spoke it. And when I heard it, I was like, it locked in. I was like, this is the full message, because there's a rhythm, a tone that needs to be done with this whole thing, which is why also I wanted to capture it on video and everything so we can hear it fully, not just written. So definitely buy the book. But yeah, so I love that you bring that, and that speaks to me as a musician as well.
You know, I have to tell you, I wonder about that, about my written poetry, whether people get it, respond to it the same way as when I'm reading it. And one of the advantages of performing anything is your emphasis and your inflection helps the reader, the listener, understand what the story is. So it's much more impactful when it's performed, which is one of the reasons that I turn to performing.
What that reminded me of is me trying to hear what my partner is saying through my text message versus what actually is happening when I have a conversation with them. There's so much more input when I have the visuals and the person. There's much more data for me to understand what's fully being said and transmitted versus just through the text. But also that's why I think it's so beautiful to collaborate between different types of arts and mediums, because you get the more full expression of the human moment in that moment. And that's what you created with that jam before the slam, and it's just like inspirational, honestly. Man, that's so cool. So then the next thing I wanted to talk about with this is part of the project that we're working on is doing some of these videos, and I'm trying to capture the sound, the emotion of this through the soundtrack itself as well, because it's going to be a commissioned piece here. So what would you say the emotional core of this piece is? What do you want people to experience from the audience in the best scenario, that they were fully receptive to this piece and they could walk away changed by it?
Well, you're saying emotional, and
it might be something else.
That's not where I see it. Well, one of the things that does, or the Reluctant Messiah does, is it compares the various religions.
Okay.
It studies each of them.
Okay.
And the core message is that anytime, and there's a quote, I lifted it from the book as part of the PR, is only when the mind is transformed can there be significant change. I found that true in my life. I recall in college, I'm learning things, and all of a sudden I realize something
Yeah, yeah.
about my own life.
Okay.
And as soon as that idea clicks in my head, I change the way I do things.
Perfect.
And my life
Yeah.
improves better. And that's the system with all of us when you really think about it. And that's the main idea there. It does explore. Let's see if I can get into this. The different religions recognize the same thing. In fact, it's called the ineffable.
The ineffable.
There is something that is out there. We all recognize it or experiencing in different ways. We can't say what it is.
Gotcha.
The closest thing that we can do is say what it is like.
It's like, okay.
And each of the religions has their own way of describing what it is like. In the monotheistic religions, it's like there's this consciousness above us that knows everything and is looking down on us and rewarding us and punishing us according to how we behave.
Yeah.
You can take that literally, and most people do take it literally, but to my mind, it's meant figuratively.
Gotcha.
If you go to Hindu, they have a whole other set of images and a whole other set of stories.
Gotcha.
But it's recognizing the same thing, just using different symbols
words.
to get at it. And I even go to Greek and Roman mythology because they recognize the same thing.
Yeah.
But they have a different system of describing it.
Yeah.
The trouble with symbols is that different people will take the same symbol and come up with a very different interpretation of it. One of the lines in the book is that there is no word in the English language that means more different things to more different people than the word God.
Ooh, that's real though. That's real. Everyone has a different definition. It's a big word. We can put what we want into it. Yeah.
Yes. So and my reluctant Messiah tries to penetrate through that, but also he recognizes, and the other characters in the book, because it's a group of poets and performers and thinkers.
Yeah.
And they analyze we all experience the same thing. No matter where we come from, no matter what our lives are, no matter what we go through, no matter what point in history or what country or culture we come from, we all experience the very same thing. We interpret it differently, we understand it differently, but it's the same thing. And my characters try to penetrate what is that same thing.
So if I'm hearing you, so we're trying to describe the ineffable here. So the experience that you would want your audience to have from the music side is to invite them in a place where they are calm enough to receive this kind of intellectual change. Things. We're not trying to do high explosive energy. We're like, let's go charge and go to the top of the mountains. We're looking more for something that can invite them into an intellectual experience.
Yes, and another core theme, and let's see if I can verbalize this correctly. We, based on the stories we tell ourselves, we tell certain things so often that we assume them to be true without analyzing them. One excellent example is in our Western culture, we are locked in dualism. We are locked in an either-or mentality. So we think in terms of communism or capitalism, liberal or conservative.
That's actually really cool. I love that. Because
whereas the ancient Greeks, it's not either-or, it's harmony and balance.
I love that.
Everything is on a spectrum, and what we're trying to do is not do this against that, but try to come to some kind of balance, where you have a harmony.
Gotcha. So I love harmony because that's music, but the harmony of that too is what I was envisioning for the soundtrack is two different types of sounds that find harmony by the end.
Yes.
So because that's the goal. You're taking someone on a journey from disharmony or a polarization to finding that harmony and balance. So if we could find two different types of sounds or two different types of genres or rhythms and then bringing them together, that matches your words, of course, but then we're able to bring them together into harmony for the experience of unity, right? So that's beautiful. I love that. I'm so inspired. I want to get my laptop out right now and start working on it, but right now we're here. So I wanted to ask you, is there any questions you want me to know, things you think that I should know when going about creating this video for you as well as the soundtrack? Any final thoughts that you really have?
Well, one of the things that you arrive at by the time that you're done with the book is that we all have different perspectives.
Okay.
And it's not that one perspective is the right one and all the other perspectives are wrong, but different perspectives give you different insights.
Okay.
If you explore the different religions, they'll give you different insights that you will come at if you just go through, like Christianity, for instance.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not that one perception is wrong and the other perception is right, but they give you a different way of looking at things, and sometimes this way of looking at something gives you the solution to what you've been trying to get at. Sometimes it's a different perspective that'll get you to that solution. It's the same as working by yourself and then working with a collaborator, where a collaborator sees things in a different way. Oh, why don't you do this instead?
Like your amazing editor, right?
Exactly.
Just crystal clear.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so amazing when you collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. So one of the interesting things that was just coming up for me, it's been coming up in my own life around collaboration, is that fear of rejection, right? So whenever somebody starts collaborating, there's an opportunity that you're gonna hurt me. There's an opportunity that you won't like what I do. So I know this book is very based on your collaborative journey as an artist, as well as you bring together so many religions in a collaborative way. Is there anything you've learned along the way around that? Like how to really collaborate, really to create something, to guide somebody in that journey as an artist to harmony and unity? Yeah.
I could answer that a couple of ways. First of all, this is something that I got from Eastern religion, Buddhism.
Okay.
Is you let go of expectations. When you're working on something, I have my idea, I have my concept, but as I'm doing things, I simply let things flow, which is
very different. Yeah.
Chinese thought. Taoism,
We're
letting
flowing.
things flow.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you let go of expectations, one, you don't get angry when things don't go your way.
Fair.
And the other thing that you often discover, I often discover as a creative person, is going in a different way was actually a better idea. I've had numerous projects where when I first conceive of how I want to do it, something says, well, I can't do it there. I can't do it in the venue that I wanted, or I can't work with the people that I imagined myself working with. I have these limitations. But you adapt to those limitations, and because of those limitations, something new comes up, then you end up creating something that was much better, almost always much better than your original conception.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've learned.
I love that. Yeah.
And another thing that I've learned with cooperation is there are a handful of people that I have worked just beautifully with. We start working on a project, and we just have a great time, and the products that we create are the things that I'm most proud of.
Oh, I love that.
And what I've discovered, what I've observed, is that it works because we are focused on the same thing, which is making what we're working on the best that it could be. I have had people that I worked with and I clash with, and more often than not, it's because they are ego invested. There is something in the project that they themselves want to get out of the project, and that's what they want. And I'm trying to, I've got a vision of how to make it the best it could be, and so we clash.
Gotcha.
I work with them. I have a reputation of getting along with just everyone, but I know that these are not the people to continue working with.
Gotcha.
And as I said, there have been a handful of people that it's just absolutely beautiful, and it's because we're simply focused on making it the best that it could be. He or she has her idea, I have mine, we share them. Oh, that's the one we need to go with.
It's the best.
There's no argument whatsoever.
I love that. Well, thank you for imparting that wisdom to me as a budding artist myself, and I love creativity. I know I've been doing it for years, but it's always so great to hear from people with such wisdom and so much years of experience. It's like you said, you've been doing that Jam Before the Slam for, 25 years? 25 years. You've gone through a name transition for Mercury Cafe all the way to the Pearl, right? I'm so excited to go back to them as well for dancing and everything, because I love that too. Another medium, which we haven't touched on today about movement, but we can do another one about that later. So anyways, I'm so glad that we're doing The Real Optimist Messiah. We're collaborating on this video and soundtrack, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can bring harmony into this. If you do want to get if you want to get a copy of this, there is a link in the below. All purchases are going to our wonderful Seth here, of course, and we're not accepting any sponsorships or anything like this. This is just for the purpose of sharing the wisdom of what you're doing and trying to really be able to invite collaboration into the world and invite you to really be the best that you can be that empowering collaborator, be that empowering creative that's going to create the next amazing book, that next amazing poem, that next amazing soundtrack. So anyways, any last words, Seth, to our audience? Yeah.
Be open. Be open.
Be open, guys. Okay, thank you so much, and see you around on the next video. Okay, peace, bye. Yeah.
All right.
That was great. One take. Okay.